Hi, I'm Sienna, and for 3 years, I thought I was being a good daughter. I'm a software engineer in Seattle, and I'd been sending my parents monthly checks to help with their expenses back in Ohio. What I didn't know was that while they were cashing every single check, they were telling everyone in our family and their entire church community that I'd abandoned them and refused to help financially. I found out the truth during my cousin's wedding. Sienna, my Aunt Rachel pulled me aside at the reception. I'm so glad you finally came to visit. Your mother has been devastated, you know. Devastated? I blinked. What are you talking about? We talk every week. She said you haven't sent money in years, Rachel said quietly. She told everyone you cut them off when you moved to Seattle. Half the church has been taking up collections to help them pay their mortgage. My stomach dropped. Aunt Rachel, I send them $1,500 every month. I have for 3 years. Her face went pale. What? I have bank statements, canceled checks. Every single one has been cashed. I pulled out my phone, hands shaking, and showed her my banking app. Rachel stared at the screen. Oh my God, Sienna, this is fraud. I need to talk to them, I said. Wait. Rachel grabbed my arm. Your Uncle Tom sent them money too. Last Christmas, he gave them $5,000 because your mother cried about not being able to afford heating bills. While cashing my checks, I said bitterly. I'm so sorry, Rachel whispered. We all believed them. I found my parents at their table, laughing with other guests. My mother saw me approaching, and her smile faltered for just a second. Sienna, sweetheart, my father said loudly. We're so happy you came. We need to talk, I said, privately. We stepped into a quiet hallway. I crossed my arms. I just had an interesting conversation with Aunt Rachel, I began. She told me you've been saying I abandoned you financially. My mother's face went red. Well, you moved so far away. I send you $1,500 every month, I interrupted. Every single month. And I have proof that you've cashed every check. Now, Sienna, my father said, his voice taking on that patronizing tone I remembered from childhood. You don't understand how hard things have been. Hard enough that the church has been taking up collections for you? I asked. While you're cashing my checks? We needed more than what you were sending, my mother snapped, dropping the sweet act. Do you know how expensive everything is? The house, the car payments on the brand new Lexus I saw in your driveway? I asked. The one you bought 6 months ago? My father's jaw tightened. We deserve to live comfortably after raising you. You've been committing fraud, I said quietly. You've been taking my money and lying about it to get more money from other people. That's illegal. You wouldn't dare, my mother hissed. We're your parents. Watch me, I said, and walked away. On the flight back to Seattle, I made a list. I needed bank statements, copies of every check, phone records, and a lawyer. If my parents thought they could steal from me and destroy my reputation without consequences, they were about to learn otherwise. I called my best friend Jordan as soon as I landed. I need a lawyer, I said. The best fraud attorney in Seattle. What happened? She asked. I told her everything. Holy shit, Jordan breathed. Your own parents? My own parents, I confirmed. And I'm going to make sure they face every consequence coming to them. Marcus Chen's law office overlooked Elliott Bay. He was 35, sharp-eyed, and had a reputation for taking down white-collar criminals. Miss Sienna, thank you for coming in, he said, shaking my hand. Tell me everything. I laid out 18 months of bank statements across his desk. I've been sending them $1,500 monthly since January 2021. Every check has been cashed, but they've been telling everyone I abandoned them. Marcus examined the documents. And they've been receiving money from other sources based on these lies? Their church has been doing fundraisers, I said. My aunt said they've collected at least $20,000 over 2 years. That's fraud, Marcus said simply. Both the misrepresentation to obtain money from the church and potentially forgery if they've been endorsing your checks improperly. Can we prosecute? I asked. Absolutely, he said. But I need you to be sure. These are your parents. The media might get involved. Your extended family will have opinions. This will get ugly. It's already ugly, I said. They made it ugly when they decided to steal from me and slander me to everyone I love. Then let's build an airtight case, Marcus said. Over the next 3 weeks, we gathered everything. Marcus contacted the church, and the pastor, Reverend Thomas, was horrified. Your parents told us you refused to help them, he said over the phone, his voice shaking. We've been organizing food drives, paying their utility bills. While they were cashing my monthly checks, I finished. This is unconscionable, Reverend Thomas said. I'll provide whatever documentation you need. Our congregation deserves to know the truth. Aunt Rachel became my inside source. Your mother just bought new furniture, Rachel told me during one of our calls. Told everyone it was a gift from a neighbor. Sienna, people are still donating money to them. Not for much longer, I promised. I also contacted my parents' bank. With Marcus's help, we subpoenaed their financial records. Look at this, Marcus said during our next meeting, spreading out bank statements. They've deposited over $50,000 in the past 2 years. Your checks, church donations, and money from other family members who believed their story. What's our next step? I asked. We contact law enforcement, Marcus said. This is criminal fraud. I have a contact at the Ohio Attorney General's office, Detective Sarah Morrison. She specializes in financial crimes. Detective Morrison was a no-nonsense woman in her 40s. Miss Sienna, Mr. Chen has briefed me on your case, she said via video call. I want to be clear. Prosecuting your parents means they could face serious prison time. They committed a crime? I said. Multiple crimes. They did, Morrison agreed. Wire fraud, potentially mail fraud, fraudulent inducement. We're looking at several felonies. I'd like to arrange a controlled confrontation. Would you be willing to wear a wire? My heart pounded. Yes. Good, Morrison said. Because we need them to admit what they've done on record. Mr. Chen tells me you have documentation, but a confession would seal this case. When? I asked. Next week, Morrison said. I'll fly out to Ohio with you. We'll set up surveillance, wire you up, and you'll pay your parents a visit. Jordan squeezed my hand. You don't have to do this alone. I'm coming with you. Thank you, I whispered. Marcus leaned forward. Sienna, once we do this, there's no going back. Your parents will be arrested. Are you ready? I thought about every check I'd sent, every lie they'd told, every person they'd manipulated. I'm ready, I said. The wire was smaller than I expected, tucked under my shirt. Detective Morrison and her team were parked 2 blocks away in an unmarked van. We can hear everything, Morrison said through my earpiece. If you feel unsafe at any point, say the word coffee, and we'll move in immediately. I knocked on my parents' door. My mother answered, her smile freezing when she saw me. Sienna, what are you doing here? We need to talk, I said. All of us. My father appeared behind her. This isn't a good time. Make time, I said, pushing past them into the living room. The new furniture Aunt Rachel mentioned was everywhere. A massive leather sectional, a 75-inch TV, expensive artwork on the walls. Nice upgrades, I commented. Church donations bought all this? My mother's face went white. How dare you come into our home? The home I've been helping pay for? I interrupted. Let's talk about money, Mom. Dad. Let's talk about the $1,500 I send you every month. We needed that money, my father said defensively. Really? Because you told everyone I wasn't sending anything, I said. You told Aunt Rachel. You told Reverend Thomas. You told the entire congregation that I abandoned you. We had to survive, my mother snapped. You don't understand. I understand fraud. I cut her off. I understand you've been taking my money, cashing my checks, and then lying to get more money from other people. My father's face turned red. You think you're so smart with your fancy job and your fancy city? I think you're criminals, I said coldly. Tell me, how much money has the church given you? 20,000? 30? That's none of your business, my mother shouted. It became my business when you used lies about me to get it, I replied. Did you think I'd never find out? What are you going to do? My father demanded. Tell everyone? Ruin our reputation? No, I said. I'm going to let the law handle that. My mother's voice turned pleading. Sienna, sweetheart, we're your parents. We made mistakes, but… Mistakes? I laughed bitterly. You didn't accidentally cash my checks while telling people I sent nothing. You didn't accidentally take thousands of dollars from your church. This was deliberate, calculated. You knew exactly what you were doing. We can pay you back. It's too late for that, I said. You didn't just steal from me. You stole from your church, from your friends, from our family. You destroyed my reputation, and you did it all without a single shred of remorse. We did what we had to do, my father shouted. No, I said. You did what you wanted to do, and now you're going to face the consequences. The front door burst open. Detective Morrison and 2 uniformed officers entered. Richard and Patricia Turner, Morrison said. You're under arrest for wire fraud, fraudulent inducement, and theft by deception. My mother screamed. My father lunged toward me, but an officer grabbed him. You ungrateful bitch, he shouted as they cuffed him. After everything we did for you. You stole from me, I said quietly. That's what you did for me. As they were led away, my mother was still crying. Sienna, please, don't do this. We're family. You should have remembered that before you decided to steal from me, I replied. The trial lasted 6 weeks. Marcus and Detective Morrison built a case so airtight that even my parents' public defender recommended they take a plea deal. They refused. They actually believed they'd win. The prosecution presented check after check, each one cashed. They showed church records, donation receipts, testimony from Reverend Thomas about the fundraisers organized specifically because my parents claimed I'd abandoned them. Did the defendant ever mention that her daughter was sending monthly financial support? The prosecutor asked Reverend Thomas on the stand. Never, he replied. She told us repeatedly that Sienna had cut them off completely. We believed we were helping a couple in genuine need. Aunt Rachel testified about the lies. My bank testified about the checks. Uncle Tom testified about the $5,000 he'd given them for heating bills. And did you later discover they'd purchased a luxury vehicle around the same time? The prosecutor asked. Yes, Uncle Tom said, his voice tight with anger. A $40,000 Lexus. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. On the count of wire fraud, we find the defendants guilty. On the count of fraudulent inducement, we find the defendants guilty. On the count of theft by deception, we find the defendants guilty. My mother sobbed. My father stared straight ahead, his face gray. The judge sentenced them each to 4 years in federal prison and ordered them to pay full restitution. Every penny they'd taken from me, the church, and other family members. Over $90,000 total. This court takes seriously the exploitation of familial bonds and religious communities, the judge said. You systematically defrauded your own daughter and manipulated good people's generosity. Your behavior was calculated, sustained, and showed no remorse until you were caught. After the sentencing, reporters swarmed me outside the courthouse. Do you forgive your parents? One asked. No, I said clearly. They had 3 years to do the right thing. They chose to keep stealing and lying. This isn't about revenge. It's about accountability. Marcus put his hand on my shoulder. That's all. Thank you. Back in Seattle, I donated the restitution money to a charity for elder abuse victims. I didn't want their money anymore. I just wanted justice, and I got it. Aunt Rachel called me last week. Your mother tried to write to me from prison, she said. Wanted me to convince you to help with her appeal. What did you tell her? I asked. I told her she made her choices, Rachel said. And she's lucky you only went to the police and not the media. Jordan and I were having coffee when she asked, Do you regret it? Turning them in? Not even a little bit, I said. They weren't sorry about what they did. They were just sorry they got caught. That's not remorse. That's just fear of consequences. You did the right thing, Jordan said firmly. I know, I replied, and I'd do it again. My parents destroyed their own lives with their greed and lies. I just made sure everyone knew the truth. I refused to be their victim, their scapegoat, or their cash machine anymore. I reclaimed my reputation, my money, and my peace of mind. That's not revenge, that's justice. Have you ever had family members exploit your generosity and turn others against you? What would you have done in my situation? Like and subscribe for more stories about people who refused to be victims and fought back the right way.